What's up guys, and welcome back to what is the first track and tune video for Project Cars on my channel. As you have just seen and just watched hopefully, the car we're going to be doing today is the BMW M3 GT3, and you might be thinking, why are we doing this car out of all the other cars that are in Forza? Well, I'm using this car for a upcoming little race on my forum, and I have spent quite a bit of time in this car on this track. So I thought all the time I've spent tuning it, I'll pass it on to you guys, and hopefully you can enjoy the car. Two GT3 cars are a lot of fun. Those, along with the Group 5 cars, are probably my favourite, to be fair. But I am also enjoying the single seaters, like the Formula Rookie and the Formula Golf as well. They are pretty damn cool. But for this one, we're going to be doing the BMW M3 GT3. Just to cover up before the video starts and before we get too in depth with it, I do use a wheel, got Thrustmaster TX. I don't use any assists. If you do use assists, I have no idea how it will differ this tune to what way it handles your car or your car handles, but it'd be interesting to find out. So if you see any major differences, just leave them in the comment section below, or if you have any comments to go over any of the tuning options on this, put it in the comment section below, because it not only helps me, it helps all the other people who watch this video and looking for help and advice as well. So just share the knowledge, and then everybody can learn, and we can all get better at this game and win a lot more races. So to start off, we're going to go with tyre pressures. I'm not going to go through these individually one by one. You can see what they are on screen, and if you want to pause the video and just copy them down or copy them to your car, feel free to. But tyre pressures, I'll load them down a little bit. They seem to work pretty well for me. Tyres don't overheat. And yeah, if you've got any other suggestions or things that you found to do with the tyres, how to set them up, let me know. But these are what work for me. Brake pressure and brake balance are pretty much down to preference and what you like. I found 91% was pretty much the limit on brake pressure. If you go to 92%, I did notice myself locking up a little bit. And then the brake balance, 55%. Front brakes are a little bit hotter than the rear. But again, it helps with stability in the braking, and it works, as I say, it works for me. And what works for me might not work for you. I don't guarantee anything, don't give no guarantees with these videos, but this is just how I like the car and what I get good times with. If any of you want to try this car out after you built it up and you're on a reference time, my fastest time on this track in this car was 1:48.6. Just as a time where you guys can compare against, and let me know again in the comment section below how you guys get on, because I would be really interested to hear that, what sort of time you're setting as well. Brake disc, brake duct, bit of a combination there. Brake duct is 75%, that's not a million miles away from the base setting. Brakes don't overheat, I have no problems with them that I've noticed, so again, that works for me. Front downforce, with this it is quite a fast track, so I've removed all the downforce on the front. We've got a small amount on the rear just to help with stability. I was running the stock downforce settings originally, and I lowered them down and knocked 2 seconds off my lap time, so it was a big difference and a big gain by actually lowering that down. Weight bias, we've got a little bit to the rear, just to add a bit of extra stability when you're trying to get on the throttle out of the corners. Steering ratio, again, that's down to personal preference. I've got what works for me. If you feel like you have to put lots of input into the turning before the car turns, you want to move it to the left, move it, speed it up, and move it towards fast. And likewise, if you're trying to if you steer with the wheel and you only move it a small amount but the car turns quite a lot, you move it to the right, and that should help with that as well. Also, I have heard for pad users, if you move that all the way to the right, it helps with the twitchiness of the controller as well. I haven't tried it myself, it's just something I've heard that I want to pass on to you guys just in case it helps. Caster camber and tow in and tow out, I find with most cars these are pretty much safe settings. They might not be the ultimately fastest settings, but they're pretty safe. I did have a tinker around with a few of them, didn't get any really gains out of it, so I've left them as they are. So again, that's what works for me. If you've got anything that works, you've noticed works pretty well with these options, then bang it in the comment section below, and everybody else can read it as well. Suspension, I'll just scroll through these slowly. These are the settings I'm running. Again, I'm not going to go through what they are individually one by one, because there's quite a lot of them. But I did find overall I softened the suspension settings up on this car, and it helped in the corners quite a bit. Again, I gained about half a second a lap by making the car a little bit softer. sway bars or anti-roll bars. I did notice that, well, I did try lowering them right down and having them quite soft, but that didn't help the car at all, so I moved them all the way, not all the way, but I increased it slowly until I found a level where I was happy with it between understeer and oversteer, and that's pretty much what I've got with those settings there. Now onto the big one: bumps, rebound, slow bump, fast bump, slow rebound. There's a million and one different types of options for rebound and bump. It's way more complicated than Forza. Again, I just generically pretty much just lowered these down a little bit, softened the car up, and it worked pretty well. I have to get in the habit of knowing there is a front left and front right, as opposed to front and rear there was in Forza, because I have a tendency to just change one and then it unsettles the car. So yeah, make sure if you change the front left, you change the front right as well, to the same value, because it will help with the stability of the car. Unlike what I do sometimes, and then spend ages trying to wonder why the car feels really weird. But these are the settings I've got. Hopefully I haven't gone through too fast, so you can capture what they are. Differential, I've got it on 30% for the acceleration. Getting the power down out of corners isn't a huge problem with this car, so that works pretty well. I did try a few other settings and increasing it, but 30% for me is what seemed to work pretty damn well, so I left it at that. Deceleration is 20%, and then preload, I'll be perfectly honest, I don't really know what that does, so if you do, for the love of God, please tell me in the comment section below, because it's driving me crazy, and hopefully we can build upon that and use the information to make the car faster. Radiator, closed and open. If your car's overheating, blown engines, or the water temperature is going quite high, which you can see on the dash display in the in-car, then open it a little bit more, or you can close it and your engine will get a bit warmer, so you can kind of manage it with that way. And as it says there, a track with long straights and cooler weather conditions will need this to be open less, for example, so it's down to whichever track you're using. I probably could close that up a little bit, because this track is quite fast. And the one thing I have found with these explanations of what all these do in the middle there, they are pretty good. They're a lot better than the Forza ones were, and if you compare them to the explanations of the force feedback, which are absolutely terrible, you need a scientific degree in God knows what to be able to understand them, but these descriptions work pretty well, and they will give you a good pointer to help you out with your tuning. Gearing, because we removed all the aero, then I've increased the final drive towards top speed a little, and I have bumped these up by 1 notch to the right for each of the gears, and it works pretty good now. In the fastest straight, which is the start finish line just before you get to the braking zone for corner 1, I'm just about to get into the red line for 6th gear, so it's pretty much optimal for what you need. Fuel load, qualifying and the top one, you can have them pretty much set whatever you want. Obviously less fuel, you will get faster lap times, but make sure you've got enough fuel in the car for the race. Brake mapping and restrictor, again, haven't messed about with them too much. They seem to work alright for the car. If you know of a better setting or what works well, then again, leave it in the comment section below for me and everybody else. And that brings us to the end of the tuning bit. But what I want to go over as well is the force feedback, because the force feedback in the Xbox One version anyway of Project Cars is not the best. It is very light, and if you want to know what my option settings for force feedback are, then watch my updated wheel video. They're all in there, you can copy them, but these are the ones for the individual in-car setting as well. And I'm not sure if these actually make a difference with the controller. I'd probably imagine not, but if it does, let me know. Again, pass that information on to other people, but this is what I've got for the wheel. So again, I'm not going to go through these one by one. You can see them on screen. You can copy them. Arm angle, I've got it 1500. It's what works for me. If the steering wheel feels quite loose in the middle and there's little force feedback, move it to the left and it should help with it. Likewise, if it feels quite tight in the first 30-40 degrees that you turn it, to move it to the right towards high, and that will help with that as well. But that should work pretty good. Body and SOPLC of pants, that's what I've got that set as. And again, the car gives me a lot of feedback, so the wheel can actually feel what it's doing, and the wheel's not too heavy as well. If you want the wheel heavier, then pretty much move that down. I think I'll just change that from 70. Move that to the left, but if you do, so if you change that 48 to 30 for instance, change the master scale to 30 as well, and that will help with the overall feel of the car. So whatever you change the master scale to, change the SOP scale to the same, and if you want it heavier, move it to the right, and if you want it lighter, move it to the left. But there you go guys, that is the first video for Project Cars, the first track and tune, hopefully of many to come. I hope you enjoyed the little intro bit. I want to try and do something special for my first video. If you did, please hit the like button below. It helps with the visibility of my channel, helps my channel grow, or leave me a comment, or subscribe if you're new to my channel, and if you are new to my channel, welcome. So there you go guys, go and test it out, give me some comments and feedback in the comment section below, and until my next one, I'll see you all soon.